Hello, internet friends. Okay, I was scrolling Twitter and this post got my attention. Okay, Thomas is saying, okay, he's a bit afraid of the drama that coming up about Vercel usage. It can be very costly, and so he's considering going on a self-hosting solution. Okay, personally, I'm a huge advocate for self-hosting, etc. But I think this is not a silver bullet. You Given Vercel is actually a really good product, and the cost is pretty much low if you don't waste the resources. So this is just a couple of tips, Thomas, you can like implement in your product to like really impact your usage bills and your usage in general, because I feel like there's some rough edges that can be improved to make your usage much lower. So let's get to it. So this is your product. Is a job board, and I've noticed a couple of things that might be easily optimized to reduce your usage by a lot. For example, I'm opening this. Oh, sorry. Let's clear the network. Let's open this. What happens? It happens that it opens the model, and first you're sending two events. Oops, double click it. Two events are literally the same event. Oh, frog. So hard to press thing. Okay, this event. Let's see the payload. Bam, bam, bam. What you're sending is probably why so hard? Okay, what you're sending is the scroll position, I guess, or the viewport, but you're sending it twice. You're sending it twice for every time you open a model. And when you close a model, you again send an event as a page view for this page. So in even 5 minutes of navigation, you can end up sending 100 of requests that are not really useful, because this kind of page view is already happened once. If you want to track the users going back and forth in between the list and the model, you can also like store in the client like a breadcrumb or is navigation, and every once in a while sync that with the server, so you can batch multiple navigation clients and navigation with a server instead of you doing it multiple times. But in this specific scenario, almost feel like a bug, because you're literally tracking things that should not really be tracked that much, to be honest. And also the things that you're doing constantly, they're not cached, and this is where the problem really shines, because every time I'm opening like this timeless.com, let's see, others cache miss. This is not caching in any way, and this means you're doing a request on Vercel. You're probably calling a database. You're doing all the computation and such, but every time I'm doing this, you're doing this work over and over again, and this happens for every model and every user. So what can we do about it? For sure, one easy thing to do is dealing at the request layer with Vercel. You can just return from your API the cache header that tells the browser for how long they can keep the data and believe it's valid data, it's fresh data. So for example, if I open this, like close it and reopen it, if I have an HTTP cache, the browser will use the cache already in the browser instead of requesting again to Vercel and having to the database, having to use the computation cost of the Vercel stuff, etc. This is one layer of optimization you can do, and this will probably remove like a lot of your usage, because what a better way of skipping or reducing work by not doing that work. If there's no reason to do it again. There are a bunch of other that have this problem, like everything is missed. Miss means it was generated again. It was not served by cache. Also like incremental click. Yeah, there's a bunch. There's really a bunch, and the optimization is really simple. Another thing you can do is implementing something like time stack query. Time stack query takes a different approach because this is a client-side query. This is an example for a view because I think you're using Nuxt. What happens when you load something with this query? You have a cache within your application. So what will happen if you, let's say, close this and reopen it again? Instead of doing a network request, it will say, okay, I have a cache data, all this data, or request can be a different query. All this data are already in the client, and you can say how much time this is considered to be valid data, or you can also refresh the data on every page focus or every 5 minutes, or you can just say, okay, every request to this endpoint is going to be cached for 5 seconds. Doesn't matter, really depends on your application, because now you're doing no caching at all. But imagine if you were doing something like that. Okay, let's go. We are in daily, we're in weekly. We call Vercel, database queries, computation. We go back to daily. Call to Vercel, database query, computation. These all things is not really necessary with proper caching. With something like a rect query, you can store the result of the query on the client, so it will, like, going from daily to Monday will be instantly, and no network whatsoever will be done. But what happened if the data changes on the server? It doesn't really matter for this kind of app, because on the next refresh or your next navigation is going to be okay. I mean, if a person fixes a typo, it's not a big of a deal. You think it's really important? No problem. You can say like, okay, just refetch something if it gets stale after 5 seconds or something. But yeah, pretty much start doing caching, and like 99% of your problem are going to be fixed, because if you like change your deployment strategy, you say, okay, I go totally with Cloudflare that is cheaper, or with Coolify and be your own VPS server. You're not really fixing anything, Thomas. You basically hide the problem you have already. So this is the catch. Just platforms like Vercel are pretty easy to abuse if you're not conscious about some optimization of our application, but thankfully are pretty easy to implement, and even the user experience goes so much better implementing caching. And yeah, hope you find it useful. Have a nice day. Bye.